Welcome back to our channel, where we share updates and untold stories about Catherine, Princess of Wales, and her royal family. Today, we bring you some news. Princess Anne's bold move to Camilla after Princess Diana's letter to her is revealed. For decades, conjecture has persisted around a lost letter to Princess Anne that may have disclosed Diana's difficulties and the monarchy's fate. The letter has unexpectedly emerged after 26 years. What prompted Diana, who had little acquaintance with Anne, to write to her? Was it an admonition or a supplication? Did the royals attempt to conceal it? What had Diana long suppressed? Diana's private correspondence was renowned for its unfiltered emotion and admissions she could not articulate verbally. Her handwritten correspondence to friends and confidants revealed her most sensitive times. However, this was distinct. Upon her communication with Princess Anne, some individuals started to question the nature of their relationship. Was it a plea for comprehension, conciliation, or something more startling? The royal family disregarded the letter's conclusion. However, their silence incited speculation. If the contents were innocuous, why were they concealed for an extended period? Some said that the letter disclosed Diana's concluding years, her challenges, the burdens of royal existence, and maybe forthcoming occurrences. Others said it illustrated the tenuous connection between two women who had never encountered one another, along with a more intimate aspect. To fully comprehend the significance of this letter, one must remember a period from decades past when Diana and Anne were two women divided by obligation, but united by everything else. Their relationship was intricate from the first. Anne believed that duty superseded emotions, although Diana's allure and compassion captivated the world. She eschewed drama and what she saw as an unnecessary public spectacle. She saw Diana as too eager to please and overly preoccupied with receiving accolades. Their first discussions were antagonistic. In the months before her marriage to Prince Charles in 1981, Diana diligently tried to establish a rapport with her prospective sister-in-law. She sought to impress and adhere to the royal family's stringent traditions. Anne, meanwhile, exhibited apathy. She was reluctant to indulge Diana's efforts to enchant others, having seen newcomers attempting to embody a regal persona. An occurrence of particular interest captured our attention. Diana's wedding took place in late June, only weeks ago. To diminish the growing gap between them, she approached Anne with the intent of fostering a moment of connection. She addressed Anne with the formal term of respect. Nevertheless, Anne hardly raised her gaze from her tasks to recognize her presence. Diana retained the coldness of that moment, and their intimacy became evident thereafter. Anne had no inclination to cultivate a friendship with her. What is the rationale? What prompted Anne to oppose Diana? Numerous individuals saw it as variations in personality. Anne was known for her simplicity. She meticulously executed her responsibilities in the background, unobserved. Nevertheless, she suffered persistent neglect. Despite her dedication, she had never encountered public scrutiny as intense as Diana's. She considered it unjust. Diana's every endeavor, despite her diligent efforts, received both criticism and praise. The animosity intensified over time. By the early 1980s, Anne had emerged as one of the most industrious royals. She had completed several things, dedicating herself to her responsibilities. Diana followed thereafter. Her inherent charisma, genuine curiosity about individuals, and capacity to captivate the audience transformed the narrative. Anne's paintings diminished in global popularity. Diana personified their aspirations. A minor but significant rift allegedly led to Anne's lack of interest in Diana. Many believed Anne would serve as Prince William's godmother upon his birth in 1982. Charles served as the godfather of Peter, the son of Anne. Individuals anticipated Anne to reciprocate the favor. Diana, however, expressed dissent. Diana selected somebody of more significance to her than Anne, who was not a member of the royal family. Evaluate this alternative. Diana eclipsed Anne, resulting in her public dismissal from a position she believed was rightfully hers. However, the story did not end there. Anne anticipated that the birth of Prince Harry in 1984 would divert attention toward her. I selected another individual once again. Anne saw it as a personal affront this time. Anne's response was concise. Although the rest of the family was there, Anne was missing from Prince Harry's baptism. She referenced a prior commitment. However, some saw it as an intentional comment. Anne remained in Gloucestershire, organizing a hunting party while the royals convened at Windsor Castle. The rejection was unequivocal but unvoiced. The message was clear. If she wasn't considered significant enough to include, her presence was superfluous. Diana never publicly referenced Anne throughout these disputes. She omitted any reference to their estrangement or the gap in their relationship. However, it was extant. The revelation of this letter has triggered further complications. Did Diana attempt to make contact once more? Did she attempt to resolve their conflicts via conversation? The primary inquiry may be why Anne never acknowledged it. Why did Anne remain silent, despite her understanding? Did she dismiss it like she did with Diana years before, or was the reality more intricate? A letter might alter perceptions of the relationship between Diana and Anne. To grasp its significance, one must revisit the period when Diana's life began to unravel, when she experienced enormous solitude, and when writing emerged as her only refuge. If Diana had really corresponded with Anne, she may have pursued comprehension in her latter years, an objective she had not before attained. Diana recognized that the royal palace embodied traditions and implicit regulations that shaped emotions, behavior, and interpersonal dynamics. For years, she grappled with the complex network of expectations, but in the early 1990s, the facade started to disintegrate. She could no longer refute the stark truth that supplanted the idealized perception of her marriage to Prince Charles. She experienced solitude. Her marriage resulted in a decline of her royal status. By 1992, murmurs escalated into a cacophony. The media meticulously examined each moment of Diana and Charles's most strained public engagements. The royal family was in a more dire situation. Diana saw herself as ensnared in a life that deprived her of her individuality. The royal family did not endorse her. Her psychological well-being was deteriorating, and her marriage was disintegrating. She consistently sought help from others, only to face disdain. Diana often felt that the royal family deliberately regulated their emotions. She disclosed to her intimate pals that the monarchy's years of precise order saw her as a nuisance. The dissolution of her marriage also severed her familial connections. She believed that an individual like Anne might comprehend her issues, notwithstanding their disparities. However, she was mistaken. Anne has always played a prominent role in royal duties. Anne donned the crown effortlessly, while Diana struggled with it. She lacked empathy towards public displays of emotion. Diana participated in a significant interview with the BBC's Panorama in 1995, a decision that would change the course of royal history. It was a pivotal era in her life. She discussed her deteriorating marriage, her bulimia, and, at a crucial moment, Charles's infidelity with Camilla Parker Bowles. She said, "This marriage involved 3 individuals, rendering it somewhat congested with calm confidence." The telephone exchange showed blatant disdain for the values of the monarchy. It was visceral and poignant. It constituted the ultimate fracture in her royal familial connections. She had become an outsider, no longer only the future king's estranged spouse. Reports indicate that Anne, along with the other royals, was incensed. She considered Diana's interview a futile spectacle that humiliated the royal family. Most importantly, it validated Anne's belief that Diana was unsuitable for royal life. Diana continued to correspond with Anne despite their conflict. The letter's prolonged hiding illustrated Diana's resolve to communicate an essential message. Why did she choose to provide this knowledge to a lady she had consistently evaded? What might she have articulated? Diana's last chapter occurred in 1997. She seemed aware that time was limited. In the months before her untimely demise, she wrote an exceptional quantity of letters to friends, colleagues, and intimate confidants. Everyone had a sense of urgency, indicating a profound concern that she feared may occur. In a correspondence, she articulated her disdain for spying. She also articulated her apprehensions about quiet and the obstacles she encountered. She recognized the repercussions of expressing her thoughts, but she remained vocal. What would she have composed for Anne at that time? Diana likely did not anticipate Anne reciprocating her compassion. She may have composed the letter to articulate emotions the family was reluctant to acknowledge, rather than to mend their relationship. She could have desired for Anne to be aware of her narrative. Perhaps she believed Anne would see that Diana was not the family's antagonist. However, Anne never referenced the letter. The letter remained unacknowledged for years, and Anne never claimed authorship. The 2024 sale of a private collection of letters belonging to Diana disclosed her existence. For decades, an unsealed envelope contained a message for Anne. The message discloses Diana's enduring desire for acknowledgement from a royal family member. Diana is a lifelong writer. She found solace in articulating her ideas long before she became the most photographed woman globally, and her life was scrutinized by every tabloid. Composing letters enabled her to express emotions she could not articulate and convey her thoughts when others were disinterested. However, The tone of her message evolved as the months of 1997 progressed. She seemed aware of the limited time, as they experienced a sense of urgency and subdued melancholy. During that summer, Diana encountered a challenging predicament. Following her divorce from Charles in August 1996, she relinquished royal protection and was absolved of royal responsibilities. Diana, Princess of Wales, had forfeited her royal title. Despite its little size, it was essential. Devoid of royal protection, she was very vulnerable. Her life has undergone significant transformation. She devoted much time abroad and developed an affection for Dodi Fayed, the son of Mohammed Al Fayed. The media tracked her from her philanthropic endeavors in conflict areas to her Mediterranean yacht excursions. However, people in her vicinity saw a transformation. She was unable to sleep peacefully, despite the perception of a lady embarking on a new beginning. She apprehended that an incident was imminent. Diana informed her friends that she sensed surveillance. In October 1996, she spoke with her former butler, Paul Burrell, expressing her worry over a potential assassination plan against her. She articulated her escalating paranoia and the existence of malevolent forces. Diana's correspondence to Anne goes beyond mere reconciliation, implying a reflection of her emotional condition. She presumably believed that Anne needed the caution for her own purposes. Why Anne? Anne was the one princess who showed kindness toward Diana. She was neither a friend nor an ally. She had been disparaging, detached, and sometimes overtly contemptuous of the world's most revered woman. Diana maintained correspondence with Sarah Ferguson, Duchess of York, and it would have been more prudent to communicate with her in writing. Nevertheless, she selected Anne without any apparent rationale. Diana may have seen a trait overlooked by others. Despite their disagreements, Anne was consistently considered the most independent princess, standing by her beliefs and defying conventions. She received commendation for her honesty, pragmatism, and forthrightness. Diana may have believed that Anne was the one family member capable of confronting reality and empathizing with her. While the precise date is uncertain, experts think that Diana composed her last letter between May and July 1997. This was a crucial period for her. She garnered prominence for her humanitarian initiatives, her campaign against landmines, and her engagement in politically contentious matters. One of her most significant actions was traveling to Angola in early 1997 with the Halo Trust, an organization dedicated to landmine eradication. She captured one of her most renowned photographs there, across a minefield. She demonstrated that she transcended her role as a mere royal emblem by challenging government officials who had overlooked the issue and serving as a catalyst for change. However, it also placed her in danger. In the next months, Diana became more vocal about her concerns stemming from the discontent of various prominent individuals over her involvement in global politics. Could this letter have alerted Anne to a familial concern that Diana uncovered? The letter could have been more intimate since during her last months, Diana desired recognition from the royal family as her true self, rather than as the people's princess or a media phenomenon. She loved her two sons beyond anything else. She was the lady who made a courageous effort to save her marriage, but eventually did not succeed. The lady confronted her own challenges but encountered indifference from those obligated to assist her. Diana's writings remained unread for over 26 years. Anne disregarded it. The palace disregarded its presence. The letter appeared to remain sealed and hidden indefinitely. However, in 2024, it underwent a transformation. Royal historians and collectors discovered a secret collection of letters from Diana available for purchase in Essex. Historically, the globe has encountered the majority of the alphabet. They sent thank you cards to her workers and messages to close friends. However, one distinguished itself. Princess Anne received one sealed envelope. The rationale for its prolonged sealing over decades is evident. They kept the envelope sealed for 26 years, hiding it among a private collection. Upon the disclosure of the contents, several individuals who had examined Diana's history for decades were astonished. The letter's contents were entirely unforeseen upon its opening in 2024. It was neither a desperate plea for assistance nor an endeavor to disclose the monarchy's secrets. Diana's personal challenges rendered her perspective on the future more unsettling. The correspondence was dated in early 1997, a few months before Diana's murder in Paris. Her distinctive composition was as earnest and authentic as her previous writings. However, the tone was excellent. Diana's work was devoid of sadness and remorse. She wrote with intent, seeming to anticipate the next events. She discussed the challenges she encountered and her efforts to navigate a system that failed to accommodate individuals like herself. She discussed experiencing oppression for expressing her truth and being labeled for nonconformity. She mostly addressed the future of the monarchy and the specific impact Anne had on it. Diana's remarks were composed. Conversely, there was an extraordinary clarity, as if she had already come to terms with her destiny. She expressed her concerns over those who had before supported her but deserted her in her time of need. She also made a prediction that now seems accurate. She believed the monarchy's existing framework would not last, that the traditions that had directed the royal family for decades were diminishing, and that the subsequent generation would repudiate them. She feared that the stringent regulations may compel William and Harry to withdraw from school. The most astonishing aspect of the letter was her personal reference to Anne, whom she described as someone she had come to see in a new light, rather than just as a sister-in-law. Diana said that they were dissimilar and had never comprehended one another. She commended Anne's fortitude and her capacity to fulfill her responsibilities without soliciting acclaim. She acknowledged that, in some respects, Anne epitomized everything that she had tried and failed to accomplish: self-sufficient, unflappable, and indifferent to the opinions of others. The issue that arose after the letter was, would you safeguard them in my absence? The request was unsettling, suggesting that Diana had resigned herself to the reality of not seeing her kids' maturation. Diana asked Anne, who had never shown love or support, to care for William and Harry during her absence. What is the reason behind Anne? Why was Anne chosen instead of Charles or the Queen? Diana may have believed that Anne, despite her aloofness, was the one person capable of offering her boys the assistance she was unable to subtle guidance. Anne has never participated in public discourse or exploited the media. She lived humbly, doing her duties without seeking recognition. Diana could have believed that Anne was the one person capable of assisting William and Harry in a situation she deemed untenable. The finding of this letter influenced all subsequent events. The situation prompted many to reconsider Anne's position within the royal family and whether she heeded Diana's counsel after her death. Has she communicated with Harry or William? Did she ever attempt to become the person Diana desired? The palace's reticence over the letter's authenticity incited speculation. However, those who examined Diana's handwriting, communication style, and her use of letters to convey her thoughts deemed it authentic. The news was not as stunning as expected. It did not disclose betrayal, conspiracies, or treason. It was a human effort, a mother's last struggle to shield her children from forsakenness. Did Anne pay attention? Anne continued to be as enigmatic as ever in the years subsequent to Diana's death. She seldom engaged with the media or familial matters. Nevertheless, others saw little alteration upon reflection. Some claim that Anne discreetly granted William and Harry the autonomy to manage their own lives, despite their limited closeness throughout childhood. Anne advocated for a contemporary monarchy and more autonomy for younger royals. Anne was among the few relatives who did not openly condemn Prince Harry and Meghan Markle when they relinquished their royal responsibilities in 2020. Did Diana's remarks prompt her recollection? The letter's 2024 release elicited inquiries and provided responses. Diana's tale has always been presented through the lens of unrealized potential and possibilities that may have existed. This letter was distinctive. The narrative was not melancholic. It represented a last hope. Although aware of her defeat in the struggle for personal well-being, Diana continued to prioritize her boys. Her words resurfaced decades later, evoking the freedom she had always desired for them. However, the question persisted: had Anne fulfilled Diana's request from years before, or had it been disregarded as Diana had often experienced throughout her life? The royals want privacy. Diana's letter reignited controversies over the royal family, its customs, and its fiscal responsibilities. The monarchy has always esteemed its ability to evolve while preserving its long-standing traditions. However, Diana understood what others overlooked. She saw the transformation of society, the diminishing of uncritical veneration for royal traditions, and the monarchy's impending downfall resulting from its own inflexibility unless it adapted. Her remarks to Anne served as a discreet warning of impending challenges, rather than just a solicitation for her boys. The warning became increasingly significant 26 years after her death. The royal family behaved as if no changes had occurred after Diana's death. Obligation and anticipation constrained the institution, although they mourned her vociferously. They nurtured William and Harry under the same stringent parameters as their mother. Diana's influence was inescapable, whatever the palace's efforts to regulate it. Her influence permeated every facet of the monarchy, shaping her son's self-perception and the global reputation of the royal family. William and Harry began to make mature choices that aligned more closely with their mother's principles than with the imposed traditions. Prince William embraced royal life in a modern manner, integrating his responsibilities with a feeling of freedom. He married commoner Catherine Middleton and raised their children differently from past royals. They were kind, relatable, and enthusiastic about giving their children a conventional life. Diana believed William would embrace his job, albeit under his own conditions. Harry, nevertheless, executed a more remarkable maneuver. In 2020, he and Meghan Markle audaciously departed from royal life, reminiscent of Diana's challenges decades before. Media intrusion, inadequate security, and isolation led to the recurrence of historical events. The interviews with the duo corroborated Diana's suspicions. The organization exhibited stability. As she anticipated, the younger generation rebelled due to a lack of education. Anne has always shown composure, loyalty, and dedication to her responsibilities. She neither replied to Diana's message nor indicated if it impacted her. However, after Diana's demise, there were almost no alterations. Anne, advocating for a more efficient monarchy, said that not all royals are required to perform ceremonial duties. She advocated for efficiency, practicality, and the autonomy of family members. This perspective, intentional or not, embodied Diana's aspirations for her children's futures. Anne refrained from participating in the public condemnation after Harry and Meghan's departure. She seems unaffected. She maintained her silence, consistent with her reaction to Diana's message from 2024. Diana's insights are significant as the monarchy nears a critical juncture. The letter's message endured timelessness despite decades of suppression. Contemporary culture is less inclined to uncritically adopt royal traditions. Demands for accountability and modernity are supplanting unquestioning loyalty to the monarchy. The royal family must ascertain if they can advance or jeopardize their position. Diana was the first to forecast this. She recognized that the monarchy's future relied on transformation rather than tradition. The institution's adherence to her warning remains uncertain. The correspondence pertained to more than only Anne, William, or Harry. It represents a mother's ultimate endeavor to alter the trajectory of circumstances. It reminded us that love and obligation can coexist and that tradition should not detriment humanity. Diana's admonitions, expressions, and foresight for the future will be commemorated as the world contemplates her life and legacy. Thank you for watching the video. Please let us know your thoughts, and goodbye for the time being.